Cheers, guys.
Cheers. You ready? Let's do it. So, let's begin, brother. You first joined the Masculine Essence, I believe, January 2024.
Yeah.
What made you join the club?
To be fair, I didn't have any experience, little to no experience with dating, with women. So I was sort of looking for something. Like Masculine Essence wasn't the first thing I looked at, but it was the first thing that sort of stood out to me. I think you stood out to me. I think I wanted a personal approach. A lot of these sort of dating schools, to call them, a lot of them are online. So I think the fact that Masculine Essence was in person, very personalised, stood out to me.
Good. I like that. And how did you come across us?
I think it was through Eventbrite, or I think it was one of these event websites.
Yeah, might have been, to be
Yeah.
fair. If I remember rightly, it's probably, an event on Eventbrite. We met at the booking office.
Yeah.
69. There's a couple of lads there as well, which is good. Okay. We're going to dive straight in with questions, man.
Yeah.
So I want to know, bro, was there a moment during the process where you felt something shift in how you saw yourself or how you showed up?
I would say month 5 or 6.
Okay.
So fairly into the process. I definitely saw a shift then. So I was there for about 3 months, maybe took a break, and then I came back. And then after that, I saw a shift in my dating life. I was attracting women. I wasn't scared to speak to women. I was showing up differently in my personal life, in my professional life. Not so in my professional, but definitely in my personal life.
Yeah.
Outside of Masculine Essence.
Good.
And people sort of saw a difference.
Give me like a comment that maybe somebody made in your personal life.
I can't remember a specific comment, but people saw that I was more confident.
Okay.
I was more outspoken.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what do you reckon we did, or I did, or the club did, or the things that we put on did to help facilitate that, if they did?
I think some of the workshops, I remember a workshop we did with, I can't remember who it was. He was like a public speaker type guy.
Yeah.
And we did like a lot of exercises that were sort of uncomfortable. A lot of the other members were there, you were there. It was like very early on. But I remember that workshop sort of doing something to me.
Yeah.
And it was like, I don't think we've had a similar workshop like that since. But it was the guy, I can't remember the guy. But
Yossa, I think his name was Yossa.
Yeah. He was very good. And he sort of brings something out in you. And I think that was a sort of a moment where I saw a shift in myself.
Good. I really like that, man. And I think that's one aspect I think that most people don't see from the outside of the Masculine Essence. The main thing people hear about is one-to-one coaching, mock dates. They're pretty much the two main things. But the workshop side of things, I mean, give me some of the workshops that we've done, bro. Got a list of some of them here. So from getting into your body. So I think that was one of them. So Rowan did like a femininity one of like getting in tune with your emotions.
Yeah.
Quite early on. Improv that we just did recently. How did you find that, by the way?
I found out good. It was good.
That was different, wasn't it?
Yeah.
We basically like rented out the back of a bookshop and they've got like a theatre in there, and there was 3 of us or 4 of us in there. And it was interesting to see you guys, how you're navigating the improv. But just to go through some of the other workshops, like the dating app analysis, an insight into female psychology, maybe that leans into like the red pill side a little bit. But which ones challenged you the most, and how did you face that, would you say?
I would say the improv one recently challenged me the most.
Right.
I know some of the other guys a bit better now, so it was less comfortable, but some of the exercises that we did were like kind of mad.
Yeah, I was watching some of them and I was like, oh man.
I'm like, this definitely, and it was very specific. I thought it would be like a general improv type thing, but it was very specific, the dating. Some of the exercises we did were like very, very good.
100%. Well, that's something that we spoke to Rowan about. So Rowan started off as a mock date model.
Yeah.
A couple of the guys went on a date with her, And yeah, she showed something that was like, there's something different with her. She was quite inquisitive, quite self-aware. So this was something where I was like, right, why not host a workshop? She's got like an acting background. And one of the conversations we had beforehand was, let's make it related to dating. Like, let's really make this as specific as possible. So one of the things she did was like, what was it? Like, pretend you're on a dating show.
Yeah.
And basically come out and, you know, you're the shy guy, you're the confident guy, you're the cocky guy. You're the guy that's come on a dating show to sell his car. Like, so do you remember that one with Jack? That's so random. So yeah, the workshops have been definitely interesting for you. Where did a workshop sit in regard to just how efficient and how effective you found the masculine essence to be for your own development?
I would say some of the workshops were just good in general for my confidence and charisma, less so with dating. Like the one we did with Rowan, the one we did with Yossa, they were just good for my general confidence. The ones that helped me with my dating life were like approach days, mock dates, that type of stuff.
So you would probably say like the mock dates, the approach days, they're the real like quick, effective. They're going to change.
Yeah.
And the workshops are probably just good to. How would you describe that?
I would say they will definitely help with dating because they'll help you with your confidence overall. So if your confidence is good, your dating life is likely to be better.
Right. Yeah.
So.
But they go hand in hand, don't they? Yeah. So has this helped you then, bro?
Yeah, for sure.
Really?
Sure. Because when I joined, I didn't really say, oh, I want to have a girlfriend in like 6 months. I just want to have the tools. I just want someone to teach me stuff. I came in with like a completely open mind.
Yeah. That's one thing I'll say, big up to you for that, by the way.
Yeah.
Like, that was fantastic. You came into every session, every feedback, every single thing. You were just like, okay. Like, I'll take that on board. So well done for that.
Yeah. I've definitely learned a ton because I see like relationships out there and I'm like, oh my God, if I don't do something, this is the path that I might go down.
Right.
So I better do something to change that, or I better get someone to help me. I better learn something. So
that's so interesting because I don't know if in the early days I spoke to you about this, but I might spoke to Jake or somebody about this, and it's default future and created future. Yeah. And it's like a graph. I don't know if I showed you it.
Yeah.
But the default future is like, right, you're just going to go here. This is probably who you're going to marry. This is probably who you're going to end up with. Yeah. If you don't change, you know, your conditioning or wherever you've been in your mind and experienced in your life. Created future is like, right, something comes in. We need an intervention now. Let's create the ideal life.
Yeah.
And I'll give you an example. Like with me, for example, the birth of the masculine essence came from a breakup because I was left in a situation where I was like, oh my God, what am I left with? What have I got here? I don't have the tools. I don't have the skills. And I had to go out on these nights out and experiment and try different things. And I'd come back like a crazy scientist after a night out, hungover the day after, like sitting in the garden like, what did I learn from that? Why did that work when I went up to that girl? Why did it work when I just went over to her and just said, put your number in there for me? Why did that work? And then she came around to my house. How did that work? But then with other girls, it doesn't work. Yeah. So I was like consistently analyzing. In regard to the psychology background, bro, that I have and that I've kind of built a lot of this from, how much would you say that your understanding of psychology or your understanding of like the human mind, whether it be yourself or observing others, how much would you say that's affected maybe your outlook on the world now, if it has?
Psychology, I'm not sure because I've not looked at it enough, but definitely I would say body language. I know you're big on body language, so I look at people's body language a lot now. I analyze their body language. I can tell if they're confident with their body language. I sort of even dissect my own body language from time to time. So I think psychology, probably you need to look at that a bit more. But I think body language is something that's I've sort of learned a lot about in the last year or so.
Yeah. Tell me something random that you've learned, man.
Just like even when I'm in a shop, I can tell by someone's body language whether they're there to browse, whether they're there to buy, whether they're there to, just be a nuisance. So I've sort of tailored it to my everyday life.
Right.
Yeah.
That's good. That's really good, because I think it's like, the most important thing I think about self-development, or, learning anything in general, is applying it. That's the main point. There's no point consuming all this information or having a coach and learning things if you're not going to take it on board and apply it. So that's really important. Did I do any one-to-one body language sessions with you? If so, what were they like? And maybe paint a picture. What was it like?
I think you did one body language session maybe early on. At the time, I didn't really think much of it. But then as time went on, we had a few more, and then I sort of started to realize how to, be better in my own body, look at other people's body language. So it takes time. I wouldn't say there was one session that you did. I would say it was an accumulation of multiple things. Mm-hmm. Even on approach days, like, you have to look at a girl's body language.
Of course.
Even on mock dates, body language is so important.
Yeah, it's massive. It's massive. And the crazy thing about these things is it doesn't matter how much knowledge you have sometimes, your body just says, nope.
Yeah.
I'm nervous, and there's nothing you can do about it. Yeah. Bro, even me, with all the knowledge that I have, I would say probably 10 years of experience, chucking myself in the deep end from a young age of just, right, see how you can swim, then let's go. But even me, when I met when I met my girlfriend at the time, went on a date in St. James's Bar, and it wasn't really a date, it was just kind of like a bit of a meeting. And I remember thinking to myself, why are you closed up? I was like this. And I was thinking, what's going on here? And she was there, and I was like, and I had to check myself. I was like, come on. Cool. But I did it obviously like subconsciously.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's very interesting. So I think you always have to, keep implementing it, and keep kind of keeping yourself accountable. In regards to accountability, bro, what would you say the importance of having a coach is, or having somebody there saying, Anoop, come on, like, I told you about this. Like, how important is that, would you say?
I think it's very important for me, especially, and probably for others as well. It can be so hard to stick to a routine sometimes if you're not being held accountable, if you don't know how to hold yourself accountable. Because sometimes I've like not held myself accountable, and I just like don't stick to habits, don't do stuff. So having a coach can definitely help. And then I think having a coach can help, but you have to learn ways to hold yourself accountable, because your coach or someone else, they're not always going to be there. So at the end of the day, it's going to be just you.
Yeah.
When you wake up, you're going to have to do the thing. 100%. That other person, he or she's not going to have time for you all the time.
Yeah.
So.
No, that's a really good point. It's a really good point. Tomorrow, actually, I'm doing a morning and an evening accountability session online with Jake and Verge.
Yeah.
Because of that reason. I just want to see, like, what are these boys now? Obviously, they could manipulate and be like, oh yeah, I'm super busy right now. Like, I've got this going on. But I don't know if they remember. Maybe I'll have a chat with them today. But Monday morning, so tomorrow about 10 a.m, both going to be on the call. Right, boys, we've got planned for the day. What we're doing. Then evening, same thing, just to see like what they've achieved. But yeah, I think you're right. I think you're really right, bro. Accountability is so important. Do you know what's so interesting, right? And again, I know this was an opportunity for you to share a little bit about your story, but for me, being a coach and coaching you guys and creating this beautiful community and network that we have, what keeps me accountable is that I've got to keep you boys accountable. I know it sounds weird.
Yeah.
But because I know that I've got to check in with you, I can't then be, not doing everything that I'm preaching.
Yeah.
So it's an interesting one. Just quickly on a dating coach thing, let's talk about this. Let's just do a bit of a quick fire, yeah? Have you told anybody you had a dating coach?
No.
Okay. Did you tell anyone you had like a confidence coach?
No, not really. I said I do like classes to help with my confidence and stuff. Okay. I didn't say I have a coach.
Yeah. What do you think the stigma is with guys within the club maybe voicing, hey, listen, I'm part of whatever and I've got a dating coach?
Sorry, repeat that. I have to repeat that.
What do you think the stigma? What do you think the stigma is? Like, you know, because I feel like a lot of the guys probably don't tell people, hey, listen, like this is what I'm doing or this is what I'm part of.
Yeah, it's a difficult one. I think people, they just don't understand. They might not understand certain struggles that people go through in this area of their life. So telling them wouldn't be of much use.
Right.
So people just think, oh, you find a partner, you marry them.
That's it. Yeah.
But they don't understand, okay, you have to be a certain way to find the right partner. You have to, go through a whole process within yourself and then elsewhere as well to find the right partner. They just think it's even in my culture, my family, they just think it's an easy thing. You just find a partner, you get married.
That's it. Done.
Done,
yeah.
Because a lot of people, it is like that.
Yeah.
Especially the opposite gender.
Yeah.
It's like that.
Yeah. It's just like, yeah, next, like it is what it is. I don't know. Yeah. I really do hear you on that, bro. It is an interesting one. And that's something that I'm always trying to, fight against is the stigma. We just had a recent one of our videos go viral, bloody 300,000 views on this clip from our approach day. 5 seconds we're walking and it's gone viral. And I had to turn the comments off. Why do you think I had to turn the comments off?
Because you're getting a lot of hate.
Yeah. But who do you reckon they're from?
Ooh.
Kind of people?
I would say they might be from people that have either got really bad dating lives or really good dating lives.
Well, they had no profile picture.
Oh, okay, fine. Okay.
Minimal followers, private account, hardly any, or if they didn't, hardly any posts.
Okay.
But I had to turn them off because I was hopping in the comments, forgetting that this is on the Masculine Essence Instagram. And I was like, bro, what's your problem? And I was like, okay, right, I need to delete this and block this. So there is a bit of a stigma, right? It's quite interesting. Yeah, man, let's talk about, you mentioned there a minute ago about struggles. And I don't think you mentioned it in this context, but let me ask you, in regard to how you have been throughout this whole process, how you've been throughout, this whole journey of being within the club, what would you say your mental health has been like? And if it's been bad at times, why in particular? And was there anything that we could have done to help you more in that setting?
I think my mental health has been up and down, but it's got very little to do with the Masculine Essence.
Okay.
My mental health has been fine, really, but there's been parts where it's been not as good. But I would say that's got very little to do with the Masculine Essence. I would say if my mental health on a certain day might not be good and I've got a Masculine Essence session on that day, especially an outdoor one, like an approach day, that's probably going to lift my mood.
Couldn't agree more.
So
just getting outside, innit?
Yeah. So mental health, I sort of know how to manage it.
Mm-hmm.
I sort of know what the roots could be. But I wouldn't say it's got anything to do with the Masculine Essence. I think the Masculine Essence probably has had a good effect on my mental health.
Okay, that's good. That's good. I think it's important to ask. The reason I ask is we had a dating event in Birmingham the other day, Thursday. You might know them, they're quite popular. And we brought one of our members there in Birmingham, Taryn, we brought him there. And I had to leave early because opposite this Dirty Martini place was Cozy Club in Birmingham. And I was going to meet one of the guys that's inquired about the club. Now, I won't say his name, but he is basically in the therapeutic space. He is basically a therapist.
Yeah.
And he wanted to just figure out, like, talk to me about the Masculine Essence, Dennis. What is it? And his main question was, this is what I got from it. How do you differentiate between therapy and coaching? Like, how are you able to just say to all of your members, right, park that at the door. We're going on an approach day right now. And I said to him, bro, I'll be honest. More so in New York, I saw it that the mental health was of a lower standard for whatever reason, external variables, whatever it may be. And I realized that was seeping into a lot of our sessions.
Okay.
So I had to do, not that I'm trained in therapy, not that I'm a therapist, I'm a big advocate of therapy, but a lot of the discussions I was having in sessions with some of the New York clientele was, let's talk about certain areas. Obviously, I'm not qualified, so I'm not going to be able to deep dive, whatever. But coaching is, for me, is focusing on the here and the now. For you, bro, how do you view that? Do you feel like maybe at times the sessions felt like therapy, or do you feel like they've been a good addition to your kind of, coping mechanism? Talk to me about that, if you understand what I'm trying to say here.
I wouldn't say they were therapy. I would say they were more like coaching sessions, because therapy, I would say, is talking about maybe your past, talking about, deep diving more. But I don't think we've really done that too much. So definitely good coaching sessions as opposed to therapy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's fair, man. No, I like that. What would you say is the biggest thing you've learned from this journey, bro?
Ooh, so many things.
The standout thing.
I would say people usually go down a certain path, and it's so difficult to deviate from that path. So people marry like someone, they buy a house, they have kids, which is great. I think people should have kids, but they go down a very linear, generally a boring path in life.
Right.
But what I've learned is there's so many people out there that don't want to go down that path. They want to do something. They want to start their own business. They want to, find the best partner. I would say I've learned that not everyone wants to go down a traditional path.
Right. Good point.
But I would say it's difficult for me, I find that difficult to sort of communicate with people like my family members who might have gone down that path, saying to them, look, I don't want to do this now. Maybe in the future I might want to do it. Right now I just want to focus on myself. I don't want to think about whatever. So I would say,
like an alternative route, it shows you. There's an alternative way of living.
Yeah.
In a sense.
Yeah.
That's good, bro. I'm glad you feel that way, man. Yeah. What would you say is the difference between a noob before joining a program and a noob now? Biggest difference?
I would say just the tools that I've got with women.
Okay.
I would say the way I communicate, my confidence levels generally are the same, but the tools that I've got to speak to women now, like I know what to do. Even though I might not do it every day, I know what to do. Before I didn't even know what to do. So
you're going in blind almost.
Yeah. So you can look at videos online, you can take advice from people, but you just need someone who knows what they're talking about, knows what they're doing, to give you the tools, and then you just need to go out and use those tools.
That's a good point. So what made you, and you can be completely candid here and honest, what made you look at me and say, this guy knows what he's doing / what he's talking about? Be honest.
To be honest, I think I might have mentioned this before. I live in an area that's full of Greeks, Turkish people, Turkish Cypriots. And I knew a few people where, like, I knew them at school, and they weren't really, no women really liked them. They were like a bit of a class clown. And then I saw them online, and they're like, they've sort of turned their life around. They've got like a 10 out of 10 girlfriend. They live in a sick life. They're traveling. I'm like, maybe this guy had struggles in the past and he's sort of done stuff to like change that. And I feel like you have done.
100.
So I think that's one of the things that caught my eye in the first place.
Okay.
So when I saw your name, he might be Turkish.
Probably Cypriot or something, yeah.
Because I grew up around so many Turkish Cypriots. So it sort of gave me that comfort. Because I'm not going to go into it, but certain coaches from certain ethnic backgrounds I probably wouldn't have gone with.
Yeah.
Because I might not have felt comfortable or like relatable. So
it's a familiarity thing as well, isn't it? Yeah, it's definitely that. Okay, that's interesting, man. Is there a question that you would like to maybe ask me about anything, bro? Like maybe selfishly, or just maybe for the people watching at home right now, that they could maybe get something from? I know I've put you on the spot here. Could be absolutely anything to do with the masculine essence or my journey or maybe something you're struggling with right now, or you're curious about right now that we haven't had a chance to deep dive into yet?
I would say definitely about masculine essence. I think I might have asked you before. Like, where do you see it going? Do you see it as a dating club, or would you see it as like a more general thing going forward?
I would say, I think it's important for us not to veer away from like what this started with and the reason that it got a lot of eyeballs early on.
Yeah.
So the dating aspect is really important, but I think I lead with dating. The masculine essence leads with dating, but really and truly, like the confidence, the body language, the attachment style, the psychology background, the workshops, the mock. It's like you can't separate the confidence and the body language side and the growth mindset side. Whereas I feel like a lot of people online, it's just dating. We're not going to talk about psychology, confidence. It's just, this is what you do to get her number, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
So I think it will probably become even more holistic than it is right now.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't want us to ever go away from like the core values, which is let's help men build up confidence to talk to women anywhere in the world, whenever they want, however they want. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's something that's quite important. How do you feel being, one of the early members of the club, and who knows where it's going to go to right now? I mean, we might go viral again tonight as we're speaking. Like, you never know. But how do you feel? How do you feel about being one of the early members?
Well, to be honest, I hope the business grows, and then for me to be one of the early members, I'll probably take pride in that. I met some great guys, people that are going through the same journey. Like I think being one of the earlier members, you might get more personalized coaching.
Right.
If a business like this grows, the clients, they might not get as personalized coaching. So I feel lucky being one of the earlier members.
Yeah, that's a good point. And to be honest, bro, that's why we've now introduced the different kind of membership packages.
Yeah.
So bronze, silver, and gold, properly like solidified.
Yeah.
And then, if you choose the gold package, then of course it's going to be a higher investment, but you get more personalized.
Yeah.
Like you ultimately become like a priority, which a lot of the New York guys were at the time. That's why I was flying out every like 35 days. Yeah. Bro, let me ask you this then. If somebody was curious about joining the Masculine Essence, they were inquisitive to like, what is this thing? We get a lot of messages. What is this? Like, can you explain this? Explain this to me? Or I don't know. What would you say to them if somebody's on the fence about joining?
I would say at least just, have a call, do your research before you sort of ask silly questions that you might just know the answer to online.
Yeah.
You have to really think about, is this a part of your life that you want to improve? Don't just join, without thinking about it, or don't, because there's so many people out there that they don't know what something is, but they join. But I feel like something like this would attract a lot of people, because a lot of people need this type of help.
Right.
I would say to someone new, definitely try it if you can get the investment, if you can pay. I'll definitely give it a go if it's a part of your life that you want to improve.
I like that, bro. That's a good way to look at it, for sure. Bro, I just want to say as well, I want to give you your flowers. Thank you for turning up, showing up to every session with an open mind. Thank you for being like an integral part, excuse me, of the early formation of all of this. It really does make a difference. And I hope you've enjoyed the journey, bro. I'm sure this is probably going to be the end of us, seeing each other or meeting up or, and again, you never know what the future does hold. Is there anything that you would kind of summarize? How would you best summarize your experience within the club?
I would say I've enjoyed it more than anything. I found it challenging and enjoyable at the same time. Yeah. So, challenging. I've been pushed at the right time. You feel like I pushed you at the right times? Yeah. So, and coming back from every session, you feel better about yourself. You feel better. You just feel different. So I think one of the main things I would say for myself and maybe for the other members is if you come out of a session feeling good, just double down on that, because you're not going to have a session every day. So practice what you've learned as much as you can. Otherwise, the muscle will weaken. So
it's a good way to look at it.
That's sometimes happened to me where I've come out of a session, I feel great, and then after like 2 weeks, I've not done anything, waiting for the next session.
Yeah.
So I would say apply what you've learned as much as you can.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Fantastic, bro. And just one last quick fire one.
Yeah.
If you was to pick one of these mock dates, one-to-one coaching, or the workshops that's changed your dating life for the better, which one would it be?
I would say mock dates.
Mock dates.
Yeah. Because you learn more than dating on the mock dates.
Right. Learn about yourself. You get the feedback.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very interesting. Brother, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you very much, Anu.
No problem.
Appreciate it,
no
bro.
problem.